the process of the way Mike Leigh, the director, works is that it's always an investigation. Part of the rehearsal process is an investigation in researching everything you possibly can about the character that exists. And also at the same time with Mike Leigh, you're growing a character that you're building organically through the use of improvisation with him, and you go off and you work this out and you create this human being. So that is, in a nutshell, is what you do with a Mike Leigh film. He always works with improvisation and building a character for nothing. But in this case, in the two times that he's worked on films where characters have existed, you have to join up the research of what you're finding out about what the actual material is presenting and building a character to fit that. So the film is made in the rehearsal process. Yeah, I think it was discovering, and only really Mike Leigh would be the man that would break through something like this, was discovering that we were dealing with a character that was a mass of contradictions. You know, a character that could be both kind and then mean. He could be both very amusing and then non-communicative. He could be unpleasant. He could be a grumpy old, you know, grouch. And then he could be a very kind person. So all of these amazing contradictions, rather than being a barrier and an impediment, once we broke through and realised that was his essence, that was what, you know, only with a man of Mike Leigh's breadth of imagination would you be able to pursue that and take it to the nth degree. I mean, and also, if anything, one specific moment that I should never forget was it turned out that we found out that Turner had, in his 60s, had himself lashed to the mast of a sailing ship in a storm, so that he could see what the sea looked like and what the experience was, and he then went on to paint one of his great paintings. So Mike had me lashed up on a mast, and of course it wasn't at sea because it would have been too dangerous, but they did fire out of water cannons massive amounts of snow and buckets of water, and so we could recreate that moment. That is a moment that I shall never forget, and I don't advise it as a pastime. As they say on the television, we encourage you children, do not try this at home. Well, I think you always, if you're investigating a character from history that only told you so much about his life, you're always going to have to use imagination and dramatic license to push the envelope and take the little pointers from the information you've got to create the psychological makeup and the emotional character of it. We're always very mindful in adhering to what it was delivering, but it's not a documentary, it's a drama. So we went with the creative process of fleshing out that massive important part that isn't in the biographies. There's a lot of conjecture about what he was like, but no specifics. So it was our job to present a human being rather than an academic polemic.